Yeah, I was born and raised in West Virginia, and been a worship leader and church tech director for many years.
And my name is Abby, and I work in women's ministry and children's ministry, and we have 2 daughters. They are 11 and 7.
All right, so kind of same question for you. When did you guys begin to think that maybe the Lord could use you in missions?
When I was a young child, 5, 6, I was a voracious reader. I actually ended up going to college for English literature. I just loved to read. And so my mom would get these magazines from Christian book distributors, back when CBD meant something completely different.
That's right, it did mean something. I remember CBD back in the day. Now you say that, and it means something else.
Yeah. All these massive CBD magazines. And she would order just this huge variety of books. And some of the books she would order would be kids' books telling stories of missionary kids. One in particular was a book called Caribbean Chronicles. And it was 3 mini books that just talked about their lives and the stuff that they did. And I remember thinking, that is cool.
Yeah. Abby, how about for you? When was it when you started thinking about being a missionary?
When I was about 7 years old, my parents felt called to be missionaries to Kenya and Africa. And they felt it was important that our entire family be called to go together. So they sat me and my brother down and asked us to pray about becoming missionaries. And they didn't want the answer right away. They wanted us to pray about it and come back a few days later. And in my head, I immediately thought, no way. Which I think if you translate that to adult speak, it's no.
Wait, how old were you again?
7.
You were 7, yeah.
But I don't remember what happened over the course of those few days, but when I came back to my parents, I said yes.
Yeah. And I know you're with a ministry called Beautiful Feet, which is, we have about 200 crisis pregnancy centers around the world, and you're going to be a part of that. So can you tell a little bit of that story of how then, you were a missionary kid, but how did the Lord specifically work in your heart and specifically to be involved in a ministry like that?
Yeah, so my parents lived in a remote village in Kenya, and there was a woman that we knew who was expecting her first child, and she was told by her mother that she was getting too big, that the baby was getting too big, and if the baby got too big, she wouldn't be able to deliver the baby safely. And so, out of fear for herself and her baby's life, she stopped eating for 3 days, and her baby passed away. And I remember my mom telling me the story later, and I was just shook by the fact that there was a small piece of free information that this woman just didn't have. And if she had that information, her baby would still be alive. And I knew that I wanted to be involved in a ministry or a job or whatever. I didn't know what that job is or how to train for it, but that's what I wanted to do, is to help women.
And so, fast forward a little bit, you're married and have kids. Let me just jump to that one. So, what were those circumstances then that started moving you? Because I think you guys were involved on staff at a church, if I'm not mistaken. So how did God move you from there to where you are right now?
Yeah, so we were working full-time at a church in Texas. We loved our life. We loved our church. We loved our people. We loved our small groups. We loved our salary. Like, everything was fantastic. We started to feel a little unsettled, and in this time we're saying, okay, God, what do you want us to do? About that time, Abby's parents started having some health issues in the field, and we knew that if something happened to them, it would take 5 days to get where they are from where we are. So I started looking for full-time ministry positions in England, because I don't have to learn another language.
Wait, why did you pick English again?
Right, yeah.
Language, right? Yeah, no language.
And I can just take music and tech that I do here and do it over there. I figured I don't need to go to Africa to sing Chris Tomlin songs. That's not going to play out well. But England I could do, or maybe I get rid of music and I just focus on tech in Africa. Surely that's a big need. And so we started looking for ministry jobs in other countries. And I came home from church one night, and I walked in the door, and Abby slapped the bed and goes, "Joe, we're idiots." And I said, "Probably." But how so? And she said, what do you call a Christian that goes overseas to do ministry? Why are we not looking for missions organizations that are looking for help? And so that's how we found ABWE, through Google.
Google, you found us through Google. Praise the Lord for Google. Yeah. And when you found us on Google, what'd you do? How'd you?
So I was looking at open opportunities that were there. I was looking for ways to quickly get to Kenya if we needed to. And South Africa kept coming up on the list. All the other countries were like from Ethiopia to Togo to South Africa to Kenya, which is weird because they border each other, right? Like everything went through South Africa. So we started looking at South African positions, and they had a posting for a media specialist. And I'm reading through, like, they need video editing, they need podcasts, they need, like, that's me. I didn't go to college for Bible studies. I didn't go to seminary. I'm not a pastor. But the media specialist, I can do that. And so that's really the turning point where we started.
And I know you guys even visited South Africa. Can you guys just tell us, a little bit about how the Lord confirmed, like South Africa was the place?
Yeah, when we were there, we visited with one pastor, Pastor Dennis, and he said, tell us your story. And so I sat and I talked with him about church positions that I've held and skills that I've picked up on the way, and basically, like, there's 5 things technologically that I can do pretty well, and I'm willing to learn more. And he leaned back and he shook his head. He said, for 5 years, we've been praying that 5 different people would come and help us with what we need. We need a graphic designer, so we've prayed for that. We want to start a podcast. We need an audio engineer, so we've prayed for that. We want to put our church on YouTube. We need a video editor. We've prayed for that. We prayed for 5 different things for 5 years, and God said no, because we've been waiting for you.
And 5 things that you do.
The exact 5 things.
With the exact 5 things that they've been praying for.
Yeah.
So not 5 people, they just needed you.
Exactly.
Abby, how about for you? What was confirming that this ministry was, even in South Africa?
So in that same meeting, I got to share about the work that Beautiful Feet does. And our main focus is we are a pro-life ministry that helps churches know how to reach people facing crisis pregnancy in their community. But there's lots of other things that we help with too. For instance, helping support people going through losing babies through miscarriage or stillbirth. And we lost our first baby through miscarriage. And so I was sharing a little bit of my own testimony, not knowing that there was a woman in the meeting who had experienced a miscarriage recently. And it just kind of, it settled in my mind that women around the world, we're all women, and we all have struggles that we go through that we can meet each other, and I don't have to have all the answers. I'm just a woman who's had a miscarriage, and I can talk to a woman who's had a miscarriage.